Okay, so yeah, I wrote 3 words and wanted to share them with you tonight. So firstly, we want to say thank you to everyone for coming and supporting us tonight. It's not only tonight, you've been with us, a lot of you, through our journey. So we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Tonight wouldn't have happened at all if a lot of people didn't go above and beyond. So thank you. Okay, our journey has been really strange. It's really tested all of us, mentally and physically, and it's taken us to places where we never thought that we'd go. Our story goes on and it does get worse before it gets better, but I won't go through that because it's most of you may know already. But through the hard times and the hard work we've put in, there is a light that shines, and that's my son, Jaden Cruz. I have learned and grown and realised that although my son has autism, I feel, why should I just accept it? Why can't I do something about it? This is the thing that goes through my head, the mantra that goes through my head daily and pushes us to the next day and helps me fight for my son. Those of you who know Jaden Cruz and have had the privilege to meet him know that he's an amazing boy who's got a huge personality. He's so naughty, but anyway, that's just him. He's smart, but he has such a lust for life and energy that makes me and Joanne really smile and takes us to the next day. But he's come a long way with the behavioural and medical intervention that he's had throughout his early years. As he's developed, many friends and family have commented about Cruz's impeccable behaviour and compliance. A lot of people say, he looks fine, oh, there's nothing wrong with him. When we hear this feedback, it fills us with so much confidence and helps us to push forward. As we know, we are breaking barriers and creating new neural pathways. As you know, Cruz's intervention comes at a huge cost. We have spent over 100k in the past 2 years. This fundraiser tonight will help us progress and to continue to break through for my son, Jaden Cruz. A musical artist once said, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." So thank you for giving me this challenge. I will step up and I will teach my son how to step up, and he will take on life as it comes. Thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, thank you once again for supporting us tonight. I would like to take a moment to just say that our story is just one of very many. We represent a very large community around the world. The only difference is that we are blessed with all of you and a very strong family to support us. I feel blessed for being able to provide Cruzy with all the help he has had to date. So what, I say, if we have had to sell our house, sell our cars, sell our possessions to fund this therapy? At least Cruzy is having some help. What about all the other families out there who have nothing to sell and no one to support them? What happens to those little boys and girls? We have no crystal ball and do not know how Cruzy's journey will continue. But at least in years to come, we can look back and know we did everything in our power to help our boy. What about those other parents who had minimal options? Are they left to feel useless and guilty? Every child deserves the very best education and healthcare. So why is this different for children with autism? Paediatric AIDS affects 1 in 25,000 and has millions in funding. Leukemia affects 1 in 8,000 and has millions in funding. Autism affects 1 in 100, and the government are offering waiting lists up to a year and the bare minimum help. I have had the advantage of experiencing this in 2 countries and meeting many families across the globe, and I know this is happening everywhere. The CDC are now calling it a worldwide childhood epidemic. I remember one of Cruzy's first medical consultants in the US telling us that when he was in medical school, his professor called him over and said, "Hey, come over here, take a look at that man. He's got something called autism. It affects about 1 in 10,000, and you'll probably never see anyone like him again in your lifetime." It's not the time nor the place to talk about what happened to Cruzy and what I believe is causing thousands of children to be diagnosed daily with autism. But what I can tell you is that something is happening and things are changing very quickly. It has gone from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 100. And you probably witness autism now on a monthly, weekly or daily basis and do not recognise the signs. It is a disability, but because it is a neurological disability rather than a physical one, people don't see it and they just don't get it. I remember getting off the plane at Dubai airport after a horrendous journey with Cruzy. We barely made it out of the aeroplane when Cruzy's anxiety had hit sky high. Wayne was carrying all the bags, plus had Sienna to look after. Cruzy started crumbling, and Wayne needed to move Sienna away from the scene quickly. At 4'11" and 6.5 stone, I am not best placed to handle Cruzy at times like these. My hair was in a ponytail, and he had pulled my hair in about 10 different directions. He was kicking me uncontrollably and trying to bite me. The journey was very overwhelming for him. He was not being naughty. He was scared and unsure and reacting the only way he knew how to. I was trying calmly to reassure him while frantically trying to restrain him, looking a complete mess in every way. I will never forget that moment because as I looked up, exhausted physically and emotionally, I had passengers walking past, shaking their head at me and staring at us like we had appeared from another planet. What made it worse was that to the side of me, there were airport staff wheeling disabled passengers out on their wheelchairs, and you could see other passengers sympathise as they made way for them. And my heart sank. What about my son? He has a disability. Where is his help and understanding? Do you know how much he has suffered? I've experienced this several times, in Tesco's, at cafes, on the train, in the street. And what society don't understand is that these early years are crucial. It is all about early intervention. And if we hide in our homes scared of what society says, our children will never get better. It takes a lot of guts every time we walk out of the door for an outing, but we do it for the greater good and for a better day. I know many parents on the same journey who do not go to certain places because they will be judged. This is wrong. There is a saying that floats about in the autism parent community. Don't stop, look and stare. Be autism aware. Many people have often said they cannot believe the lengths we take for Cruzy with his diet, his salt lamps, his air purifiers, his supplementation, his 40 hours of therapy. It's so hard, they say. Yes, it's hard. The whole thing is hard, I cannot deny that. But no one has ever created something truly amazing without a lot of hard work. And this is the only thought that gets us out of bed every day with a smile on our face. Society we live in today is made up of a minority of adults with mental illnesses. What is our world going to be like in 20 years from now? When we have 1 in 100 adults walking around who have a mental illness and who have had no help growing up. Why is the government spending its limited autism funds building facilities just for older children and adults with autism? How about spending money on our 2, 3 and 4-year-olds at a crucial time of brain development? Where is the forward thinking so that maybe the majority of these children can go on to live a normal life without ever needing these facilities? We are currently in talks with our local MP about creating that change, and I really hope one day we can say we made a difference, not only to our son, but to a much wider group. Margaret Mead, the late great sociologist, once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." I would like to thank you all again today for your support so that we can help Cruzy be the very best he can be, but also to say thank you to our medical doctor, Duncan, our consultant, Sophie and Pip, our therapists, who work effortlessly on a daily basis. We are a strong team and Cruzy is very lucky. I would also like to mention a very special therapist who I believe teaches him priceless skills every day, and that's our Sienna. She loves her brother and has helped him so much. She's only 7, and her journey has probably been the hardest out of any of us. And if you ever see her, please spare her a thought and give her a hug too. So on a final note, you will notice that we have named the tables tonight after many greats with suspected autism or a full diagnosis. Albert Einstein, Alexander Bell, Mozart, Steven Spielberg, Bill Gates. These amazing people have shaped the world we live in and will no doubt continue to do so. Autism is also represented by a spectrum of colours, which we've tried to represent in the balloons and the vases tonight. It's about love, it's about understanding, it's about hope, and I believe it's about finding that pot of gold at the end of that colourful rainbow. Thank you so much for being here today with Wayne and I. Hope you will have a lovely night.